And I don't know if you followed the legalization of marijuana in Colorado. Of course, that passed several years ago, and I think we're now starting to see some data and information about negative effects associated with legalizing marijuana in Colorado. Have you followed that at all, and do you have any insight on that relative to whether or not that's something we should consider on a federal level or across the board, state by state?
I wouldn't support it for Alabama. I think if they were to do what they've done is decriminalize, we don't want people going to jail for long sentences for smoking weed. We'd rather have jails for like murderers and rapists, and so that's just a resource question. As far as Colorado, there has been more increase as far as DUIs and some other things. They have had some increase in tax revenue, and they've got a lot of young professionals. But part of that is because Colorado's a beautiful state. You got mountains, all this other stuff. And right now, they're pretty much the only state where that recreational marijuana is legal. So if Alabama was to apply that, it's not like people would be traveling to Alabama to do marijuana. So I think the idea of just having marijuana available at every store, CVS, that might be a bridge too far. But again, 55% of the nation disagrees with me. 55% of the nation believes that it should be legalized. And if you look at the way that polling statistics work out, once you start getting 60, 65, usually in 5-10 years, something that was illegal is legal. So I would say we're going in that direction, but again, I think that should be a state-by-state issue. The federal government should not be involved in that.
And one of the things that you mentioned earlier in the show that made me think about this is that the THC levels are different today than perhaps they were 15, 20 years ago. And one thing that Colorado has experienced is a fairly significant increase in the number of emergency room visits for individuals that are either smoking the marijuana in Colorado, or now they got all these edibles and things that you can go and buy. And so they have had a pretty big uptick in the healthcare cost associated with overdose associated with marijuana usage.
Yes, the big thing is the edibles out there, and they're trying to fix that, but what happens is kids will get a hold of it because they make candy, and so they're really going to have to change that, because THC in high doses is not good. You can get cannabis poisoning, it's very rare, but again, you're talking about 5-year-olds thinking something is a candy, and then it just messes them up. They get nauseous, they throw up. Now, it's not the same thing as if they did heroin. Obviously, they're generally not going to die from it, but you have to be very careful with that stuff, and so if that ever was going to change in Alabama, edibles are just a terrible idea.